Suspended Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton is expected shortly in the Texas Senate chamber to answer to 16 allegations of misconduct as his impeachment trial begins this morning. The former U.S. Attorney for the Northern District of Texas, Coggins, joins us this morning to talk about this history-making case about to unfold. Good morning to you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, this is going to be one of the, I think what you can expect to see is fireworks. Given the attorneys lined up on both sides of this equation, you know, they're highly experienced attorneys. They're very aggressive attorneys. We've got something that sort of falls somewhere between an administrative, a legislative proceeding, and a criminal trial, but it's neither fish nor fowl. It's a little of each.
Yeah, so we understand this is not a criminal trial, but it's going to operate similar, the opening statements, objections, et cetera. So how is this going to begin, and what's it going to look like?
Well, it's going to look, you know, as you said, a little bit like a criminal trial, but, you know, a criminal trial is done according to rules of procedure, and these shouldn't be done according to the rules of Dan Patrick, really. I mean, the lieutenant governor is really going to have to try to control these proceedings. Now, he does have the assistance. And by the way, the lieutenant governor is not an attorney. He's not a judge. So it's a little bit outside of his bailiwick, but he does have an experienced judge who will be assisting him in this. But both lawyers, both sides are very aggressive, and I think they're going to spend the first couple of days feeling each other out and seeing how far Lieutenant Governor Patrick will let them go in terms of pushing witnesses, asking questions, making objections, all those kind of things. We're going to get a better feel, I think, after 2 or 3 days of this proceeding as to how close to a trial it's going to run or how different from a trial it's going to run.
Well, if you could talk a little bit more about Dan Patrick, how much power does he have here? Can he, say, prevent this from going forward or somehow derail the impeachment proceeding?
Well, he's got immense power over these proceedings. In fact, you know, he is sort of like the presiding judge in these things, and he can determine it. And one of the things you have to remember, Brandon, is the defense has this legal argument. Remember, there were originally 20 charges filed, and it's probably shorter to list what the Attorney General wasn't charged with than what he was charged with. But they encompassed everything from conspiracy to abuse of office to bribery, false statements, all sorts of material like that. But of those 20 original charges, 19 of them took place prior to the last election. And remember, the defense has pushed very hard on this legal theory that everything that occurred prior to Paxton's last successful election is wiped off the books. If Patrick were to accept that, that would wipe out 19 of the 20 charges that Paxton faced.
Okay, and I also wanted to ask you this morning about the fact that this is being streamed live. Now, this is something you've had a lot of experience with in your career, and if you watch a trial that's not being streamed live or broadcast live and one that is, they're kind of different in a lot of ways. So how will that impact the dynamics of this? In other words, is there some fear that there may be a little more theatrics involved?
I would say there's a reality that there's a little bit more theatrics involved. Yeah, there's the performative element. You know, scratch a lawyer and you generally find, you know, a frustrated actor. So there'll be a lot of that going on, Brandon. I will say this, though. You know, in the federal system, we don't, the judges don't allow trials to be broadcast, telecast like this. Of course, some states do, and so this is being allowed to go forward. So I think you will see a lot of theatrics. What I don't expect you to see, however, is for Attorney General Paxton to get on the stand. I do not think he'll testify, because you have to remember, he's facing one criminal trial in the state, but there's also a federal investigation going in which he is a subject, and Nate Paul has already been indicted in a federal case. So I would think that those two individuals, you're not going to see them get on the witness stand.
It'll be interesting to watch for sure. Former U.S. Attorney for the Northern District of Texas, Coggins, appreciate your time this morning. Thanks.
Thank you, Brandon.